Welcome to episode 6 of Essential Conversations. Today's theme should be blatantly obvious bad movies, as was this month's video. And what you're looking at right now is probably the worst thing you've seen in a while. So, today's guest is Matt, and he has brought the movie today. It is not something that I recommended. Matt told me this was an essential bad movie. We're going to discuss if I agree with that in a bit. But he did say it was an essential bad movie. So what did you bring today, Matt?
Today I brought the 2005 film Transformed, directed by either Leo Fong or Efron C. Pignon.
Yeah.
There are conflicting information on who directed the film. Most of the internet agrees that Leo Fong directed it, and including the person who uploaded the movie agrees that Leo Fong directed it, as it says in the description. But the movie itself says it is directed by Efron C. Pignon.
Yep.
So this is not.
Uses that.
Yeah. So this isn't like, but Efron C. Pignon is in the movie. Apparently, he is an actor.
He's in the movie.
He is a real director. So this isn't like a
Speaking
Claudio. This isn't like a Claudio Fergasso where he used like a fake name for Troll 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
This is like. So I really don't know, honestly.
No one knows. But speaking, while we're on that subject, about a week ago, we managed to accidentally watch another Pignon movie, unaware that that's what we were going to be doing, that this was any sort of relation. But we have also seen Quentin Tarantino's Blind Rage recommendation, which was horrible. One of the most boring things I've seen in a long time. Great premise, but it's the blind guy's robbing a bank, but it is so boring. And there is a good portion of that in this movie too. So
I would agree to an extent.
To an extent, yeah. I think this one definitely has more going on. So why Transformed of all things? Explain your history with it and why you consider this an essential bad movie.
So, me and my friends, my very good friend Josh Van Dyke actually recommended this movie. And we are very big bad movie connoisseurs. And he has a very specific love of really bad Christian movies. So he was looking at lists of really bad Christian movies, and he was doing like deep dives. And he found this movie called Transformed. And he was like, Matt, this sounds amazing, and it's directed by Leo Fong. And if you're Red Letter Media fans, you may know Leo Fong for being the star of Low Blow, and I think it's called like Hard Kill or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. And he's like a B movie star. And he found this movie, and he was like, all right, Matt, we have to watch this. And he read me the plot. And I was like, all right, dude, that's not, because he mentioned the funneling money for third world countries. We'll get into the main synopsis in a bit. But he mentioned that part of it, and I was like, we're not going to see that. If we do see that, it's going to be like one beat sing, like whatever. And he's like, we got to watch it. I'm like, all right, we'll give it 10 minutes, and then if it's not entertaining, then we're going to turn it off. And within the first 10 minutes, a child dies of a cocaine overdose. So we were like, all right, well, we're watching this entire thing. Yeah. And we have grown to really love, I've seen it a couple times at this point. I love the movie a lot. My favorite it's not my favorite bad movie. My favorite bad movie, that goes to Miami Connection.
Yeah.
But I did not want,
for me.
Yeah, I did not want to do that one. Well, number one, you already saw it. And also, there are so many videos of Miami Connection online.
Yeah, it says like 18 people on Letterboxd have seen this. So
yeah, exactly. Like I felt like this was something that needed to be brought to the surface.
Yeah, it's like a dumpster dive. Like
it is,
true dumpster dive, yeah.
And those are my favorite types where you're like, you know what, we're going to take a chance on this. We'll see it. It does have a lot of similarities to Miami Connection.
It does,
and there's just so much in it where I'm just like, what the like?
Why were they doing that?
Why were they doing this? But it also has like this charm to it.
It does.
So I think the best way to discuss this film is to read the official IMDb synopsis. All right.
Okay.
And if you are a big if you want to check this out for yourself, you can see that the synopsis was written by Leo Fong.
Oh.
So
this is what we should be getting out of the movie.
This is the official synopsis.
Okay.
So this is for Transformed 2005. The film will be a dramatic and controversial story about a corrupt city government that uses an innocent community as its drug distribution center to generate money to fund revolutions in Central America. The film depicts corrupt city officials involved in unthinkable situations with a storyline that is sure to keep you glued to the screen. With martial arts gaining steam over the past few years, and the likes of Jackie Chan and Jet Li finally getting their due, it's no wonder we are seeing more and more quality martial arts action films dealing with extreme situations. The Hollywood community and moviegoers have embraced martial arts in general, and the making of this movie is just another example of how martial arts is truly mainstream. Mainstream being 2 words.
Oh, 2 words, and then he said "will be" at the beginning too, right? It
Yes.
said "will be." So
So
that was his movie pitch, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was literally his movie pitch, and I believe he just copied
Ripped
and
it and
pasted
said that
it
was the-
onto IMDb.
And none of that is really in the movie. I mean,
No,
it's
no.
in the movie, but
It's-
like that third world part is a one line.
That is very incidental to the film.
Yeah.
It makes it seem like you are going to see like the Central America
And all this, like-
revolutionaries getting, which you, it's.
Oh wait, but then it's bad because they're funneling it to revolution. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, and then the French are also involved for some
Oh,
reason.
God.
So yeah,
That
basically.
synopsis is interesting.
Mhm.
The will be is great. The fact that a lot of it only appears very briefly in the film, and most of it is not really I mean, I guess it's unthinkable situations, but not really.
No,
It's
I would not have thought of them. I'll say that.
No, but I will say what separated this for me for a little bit from other bad movies is stuff like Miami Connection does have like that heavier subject matter of like drug use or violence or all this stuff, but it's so goofy and it's all adults that it doesn't really land the purpose. But this is a little bit different because it's like, it's just as goofy because it's got like little kid, like a 5-year-old they're trying to recruit. But on the other hand, it's like very serious subject matter and they're trying to play it like 100% straight. And it doesn't feel like Miami Connection does where it feels a little bit too unserious where it's like, okay, we can sort of, this is like really dark, heavy subject matter that is just horribly mishandled the entire time.
Yeah, Miami Connection was made really with the intention to showcase a martial arts.
Yeah, and
students.
I think it was supposed to be fun.
Yeah, it was
This
supposed to
didn't
be
feel
fun.
like it was supposed to
This
be
was
fun.
supposed to be like a really serious look into drugs and corruption, while also being a hidden Christian film.
And then you see that, you see that in the synopsis. It starts off with the drug cartel thing, and then it immediately goes, oh, and then it's all about martial arts.
Yeah.
And it's very disconnected, like there's no in-between there of like, what's the connection between martial arts and the drug trade?
Yeah.
And they didn't even mention the whole Christianity angle. did
Yeah,
they?
no, it seems more like hidden and like,
Did
I don't
he
want to
think
say cynical,
Did
but
he
there's...
say it was like, did he think it was subtext?
I really think no, because he can't, because the Pastor Deborah is a main character. So I really think that you don't want to pitch it as a Christian movie because you're going to alienate a lot of people. What you want to do is you want to pitch it as a martial arts movie to draw in as many people as possible.
To get
you
the
come for the
funding.
martial arts, but then you leave with Jesus. All right?
I can see that angle. But I know we talked about this a little bit during the movie. The Christian angle itself is weirdly done in the movie.
Yeah.
Because it has that like, oh, she's saving the community. But then there's the whole angle of like she's kicking ass for the Lord. She's practically a vigilante.
Yeah.
So
well,
it's like,
I think before we get into that, we
Yeah,
should, even though like we
yeah,
did
yeah.
read the IMDb synopsis.
yeah, there's a lot more.
This is basically an ensemble film. There's a lot of characters, right? So we start off with the main, I guess, anti-hero of the film, very complex character named Cholo,
Yep.
who is a Mexican drug lord who.
Well, he's like, but they say he's like a drug lord, but then they say, oh, he's not the big fish. But they they treat him like the big fish at first.
They're not very consistent with power.
And calling it an ensemble, the line between ensemble and disjointed mess is very razor thin.
It's a very thin line, but I would love to call it an ensemble because I think it's full of so many colorful and quirky characters.
Yeah.
So you start off with Cholo. Cholo is a drug dealer. How high he ranks is up
All
in the
over the
air,
place.
but he has like a good chunk of power, and he has a little boy, and he loves his little boy so much that
We
the
never know the
first
kid's name.
I don't. They probably say it at some point.
Yeah.
I don't remember. But they spend the first 10 minutes of the movie taking him to Universal Studios and Disney. That's how much he loves him. We see amazing home footage that was clearly like somebody snuck in a camera. Well, not even sneak
And then
in.
even before that, like that wasn't. I was still reeling from the fact that in the first 3 minutes a mic comes into frame, and I was like, in the first 3 minutes, like at least give us like 30 minutes.
Yeah, well, even the first shot of the movie, we're getting all off topic.
I
But
know,
so
I
is
know,
the movie,
but
so
that's
it's
the point.
okay. So the first minute of the film, immediately, awful day for night shot. And you're
Yep.
like, well, I mean, even before that, the fucking logo. The logo is amazing. Because that was, I guess, homemade. That didn't seem like a preset or whatever.
I mean,
It was fantastic. And then immediately starts off with day for night. Really fucking awkward action sequence. Cut to, we have a shot of Seagull
Oh yeah, I guess like the Terrence Malick shot where it's like following the seagull.
Which I do have a theory about that later,
Okay.
and we'll come back to that.
Okay.
Where we have a lot of shots of seagulls, we get a very long opening credit sequence, and then we are introduced to Pastor Deborah. Pastor Deborah is objectively the hero of the film. She is a kick-ass woman. She is very concerned about the community and the drugs and how it's affecting children. Cinema has a lot of room for imagination and growth. Mystery, you know. And Leo Fong really knows how to like toy with what we're seeing and what is left up. You know, it's really what we think is the scariest part of all. So anyway, he loves this kid. The kid loves him, but he doesn't want his kid to be involved in the drug world. But unbeknownst to him, the kid may be more involved in the drug world than he thinks.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's not the main thrust of the plot. That comes in at like the very end.
There is really no main thrust of the plot,
really
honestly.
Isn't. It's like I think the rest of the movie can pretty much be summarized as various characters like you could say encroach on their turf, but then that's like a little bit. But what makes the main point of the movie where we get that whole like third world stuff is this is where the movie becomes it was like, oh, we're really gonna go here. Was that it immediately starts then with that mayor scene with all the people, and it's like the CIA wants us to sell cocaine.
Yes.
We got a massive deal with the government, which is based and interesting that they decided to take that angle. Does it go anywhere? Absolutely not. Although, you said it was George Rush was in the...
So basically, to give it a little bit of context, the mayor is in cahoots with the drug lords, including Cholo, but he is also in cahoots with the CIA.
Yeah.
So the CIA is trying to use this town to funnel drugs in, to collect drug money. And there is a point in the film when an assistant has to go get a file off of the mayor's computer, and she accidentally opens up the wrong file, and she sees all of the list of all the people that are involved, including the mayor, and then down the list you see names such as George W. Rush, Dick Cheney, something Rumsfeld.
Yeah.
I genuinely do not think the only thing I can think of is maybe they were like afraid that the Bush administration
was going to get mad
or sue them.
So they were like, oh, we're not going to say it.
They were very clear on like, we're going to change the world with this movie, you know? And that's, again, another part of the charm. But
then that's what makes it funny, because whenever she opens it, it's like literally a Word document with massive font.
Yes.
And she freaks out about the mayor being on there.
Yes.
Not what we assume to be the president of the United States in this situation.
Well, maybe she didn't recognize it because it said Rush instead of Bush.
Yeah.
So she was like, oh, look at this guy. Yes, exactly. This movie's genius. This movie's so good. And then also, you cut to the police force. And there are a lot of dirty cops in the police force, right?
but that's the other... So they set up the dirty cops, but they set them up as like they're trying to learn how to fight the drug lords at first.
Yes.
So it was very confusing as to who was who the whole movie.
So, okay, we're going to get to George Dillman, because George Dillman is an extremely important part of the movie. But George Dillman, they bring him in to teach them how to fight the drug lords. But George Dillman is actually working with a government agency, because he's talking to that one woman.
But not the CIA government.
Not the CIA government agency.
That's the bad government
That's
agency.
the bad
This
government
is the
agency.
FBI, I guess.
Yeah, this is the good government agency. And so he's working with a woman who is dressed up like Trinity from The Matrix. And that's where the Hammer comes in. And the Hammer is played by Fred Williamson. We should note, this movie is full of like older B-movie icons, right? Like the person who plays the mayor and Fred Williamson are both big blaxploitation actors.
Yeah, they were in a handful of those, yeah.
Yes. So the Hammer is a guy who is pretty much a badass. They only hire him to clean out the city. He does not have any interaction with any main character of the movie. Except for like one of the mayor's assistants.
Yeah, it's like a mayor's assistant, that's it.
He is literally in the main action scene at the end, and he has like no real connection to any of the major bad guys.
He has no major connection. We don't know why he's there, and he's not really helping solve the problem.
Well, he's hired by the same person as the whatever government agency that George Dillman is working for.
But he's not really doing anything. He's like knocks out like two guys.
Yes,
and they
exactly.
get literally everyone else.
And he also intimidates the guy at the church, the mayor's assistant.
Yes, but then that doesn't do anything.
No. I'm not saying he's good at his job. I'm just saying that they hired him to be.
I know, but it's like the setup is what makes that like that's what makes it funny by the end is the fact that they set him up as like, oh, he comes in alone and cleans up the entire city. and then he does nothing the rest of the
He's
movie.
not even at the church at the end.
No.
Like, he's not even in the background being like...
Yeah, he's not
or
even in the
anything
church.
like that.
And we totally forgot about that one lady whose kid dies of an that you mentioned.
Oh,
we forgot about that.
We forgot about that,
Because
yeah.
he dies because he's snorting coke with a straw out of a tinfoil packet.
Yes. So at the beginning of the movie, while Pastor Deborah is giving her lecture, we keep cutting to this Asian kid. And he has this like look on his face of like, I'm over this. I don't give a shit about this. Cut to flashbacks of him talking with Cholo and many of the other drug dealers, because Cholo is actually trying to recruit children to become
a child army.
Drug dealers, or he's just trying to sell them drugs. No, he is trying to get them to be drug dealers.
Yeah, because he's like, look at the life you can live.
Yeah, look at all this money you can get. Because children make great drug dealers. They're really good at keeping secrets from adults. So anyway, he cut to this kid later. You know, he's kind of bad talking his mom and everything.
Yeah, because that's what it was. She's clued off because he's like not being respectful anymore.
Yes,
that was the issue.
There's a part where Pastor Deborah even comes up to him and she goes, he's not respecting me anymore. He's talking back to me. So basically, the kid dies of drug overdose within the first 10 minutes of the movie.
And then the mom goes crazy.
But then
it doesn't go anywhere. She's just gone.
Yeah, and literally, they make a big deal about how this woman is going crazy, and like she has like this pillow that's like wrapped around with her child or whatever. She's like pretending it's the child. She goes to the park in the middle of the night.
She doesn't wear shoes. That's what clues us off.
Yeah, that's how you know that she's like lost her mind. Pastor Deborah is there, and she's like, you gotta accept the fact that your son is dead. You gotta accept the fact. And this happens within the first like 15 minutes of the movie, 20 minutes of the movie. You never see that woman again.
Like you said, it's an ensemble piece. They're surveying the area of all the different possibilities of what the drug trade does to a community. It's not a coherent plot. It's vignettes.
Yes, exactly.
Vignettes. Yeah.
This is not. You would not expect that. You know, drug trade. You think of like drug addicts. You know, oh man, look at all these drug people.
Yeah, there's like literally zero drug addicts in this movie, really.
Right.
And there's barely any drug dealers. There's all this stuff of like, oh, we're on their turf, and it's just a dude standing there with like a bandana on. Yeah. And they just beat him up. There's like.
I feel like Leo Fong and the people making this movie did not have respect for actual crackheads. So they were like, oh, that's not what we're worried about. We're worried about like kids dying and then moms losing their minds.
Yeah.
Not enough to actually like resolve that issue, you know.
Yeah.
But because we're just gonna throw them away because they don't want to show like homelessness and like actual like drug addicts in the film.
Yeah, they gotta keep that PG rating.
Of course.
Which I think they felt like they were going for. They said bullcrap at one point, which I don't think I've ever heard in a movie.
Yeah. That was pretty great. Well, this is also a Christian film, so you don't want to alienate that market.
But like the whole deal is that it doesn't feel like it. If you know what I like.
Oh yeah, no.
I feel like having seen like a little bit of Left Behind and some other stuff like that. Like those movies have much more of like the entire movie is just that one point.
Yeah.
But this is like that one point, but kung fu matters more.
Yes.
The entire time.
That's why I think it's kind of sneaky with it a little bit. Like, we're going to insert it a little bit.
It's sort of subtext, but not subtext for them.
Yeah. That's where, like, you can view it as, like, very, like, honest and be like, well, they're Christians. They, you know, their faith is very important to them. They want to put it in the movie. Or you can view this as very cynical. And you can say, we're trying to, like, teach people, like, Christianity is the right way to go, but we're going to lure them in with this, like, martial arts action movie.
It feels more cynical than it does real.
That's kind of where I'm coming from.
Because it doesn't have like those elements of like someone comes to faith in the movie, but like in the other ones it's like this process and long conversations and like figuring out how to come to faith. And this does nothing. The guy's just like, my kid got shot in the head. I'm Christian now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like there's none of the. It's treated very mystically a little bit too. And all this sort of stuff.
Also, we know the reason this is a very cynical film is because we have been building him up, but we have not talked about the man, the myth, the legend himself.
You brought it up, we got off topic.
George Dillman. So George Dillman, Officer George Dillman, is a character in this film.
He's not an officer in real life, is he?
No, he is not. Okay. So George Dillman is a character in the film. In real life, George Dillman is a pressure point specialist where he can knock people out through specific pressure points within their body. This movie, his introduction is literally just a lecture from him.
It's pretty much just like, it feels like an infomercial.
It literally is.
And then they just crossfade it whenever he talks for too long.
Yeah, so he plays himself And I'm assuming he was friends with Leo Fong or something. I have no idea. I doubt Leo Fong actually believed in it. But you never know, I guess.
He had the black tank top on at one point, and I am willing to bet that he would be like the I can spirit punch you.
Yeah, that is very true.
It does like that. Like his whole character in the film has that I can spirit punch you sort of vibe, so I could see it.
I understand that. So, I mean, you know, I've been proven wrong before about how crazy people can be.
Yeah.
But he plays himself. He's basically a scam artist in real life.
Did he fund this movie, do you think?
I probably he did. Well, I will say this. The reason we're talking about this in the first place is because the reason it is uploaded onto YouTube is it uploaded through George Dillman's official account currently. So he's a very big part of the film. He plays
the only reason we saw it.
He's basically like the good cop. Right? This is a very corrupt police force, but he was brought in by some random government agency to teach people how to
defend themselves.
Yes.
How to help the bad cops defend themselves.
So basically, there's a lot of essentially, there's a lot. Well, he doesn't know how many of them are corrupt because you have like a lot of the corrupt officers. You have the one guy who is a mixture of Sam Hyde and Doug Walker.
Yeah. And that one lady that looks like Owen Wilson.
Yes, exactly. No, I think she was okay. Because remember, she was
okay. But
I was
just remembering that she looks like Owen Wilson.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And George Dillman is brought in. He is teaching people all about the pressure point techniques, and then you have a lot of the corrupt cops being like, whatever, I don't believe this guy. They do that like 3 times in the movie.
And every time he just.
Yeah, they hammer home, this is real. This guy knows what he's talking about. I know people, this sounds stupid, but it's actually great and it's awesome.
I feel like he had to bankroll a little bit of the movie.
Oh yeah, for sure. Or maybe he was like a neighbor of Leo Fong and was like, hey, I'll be in your movie, but
you have to do this for me,
And then also, very importantly, we have Leo Fong's character.
Yes, which is
the Fist.
He's he's
labeled
as
the Fist.
Yes.
Throughout the movie, randomly, it cuts to there's a very serious music and then you see a man in full black with those Morpheus glasses, and he's just walking toward the camera, and it keeps coming back to him, and I'm like, who is this man? What is he doing?
It's a mystery.
And eventually he reveals himself to be the Fist, and he's on Pastor Deborah's side, and he's helping out her.
He takes pictures, which aren't enough evidence. Pictures of a drug deal are not enough evidence. You have to bring the drugs in, we found out.
Correct, yes, that is point. Although, I wonder because after Pastor Deborah leaves, he calls someone and is like, we got a problem. So it's very possible
he's obviously corrupt.
Yeah, he's a corrupt officer. But Pastor Deborah, I guess, is stupid, so he believes that, or whatever. I have my theory about Leo Fong in this film, The Fist. I think Leo Fong in this film is supposed to be an angel.
Yeah.
And I think the reason, I think when they have like the clip of the seagull at the beginning and the end, I think that is supposed to be Leo Fong's character.
And then that's why like whenever he walks up the stairs, it gets like brighter and it's like all that. You're always like going back to heaven.
Yeah, and I think like he's supposed to be like the watchful eye over everybody. That's why there's a lot of random shots of seagulls in the film.
I feel like he could be an angel. I don't know if I go as far as the seagulls, but I could definitely see that. Like that would be the only thing that would make sense, other than like why.
Yeah, that's
the only thing that would make sense.
That's what I got out of it, because I'm thinking like angel and heavenly and like doves and stuff, and I could think of them being
we can't find any doves.
We can't find any doves, but there's a ton of seagulls everywhere. So this is like the second best thing. So I think that's what they were going for.
I could see that. I could see that.
We are basically done with the ensemble cast for the most part.
I mean, that our description is probably an absolute mess.
But I want to know, because I love this film.
Yeah.
It's meant a lot to me. What did you think of the film? I know you had a lot of differing thoughts.
I didn't. I was being a little bit of just a duty head at the time this was finishing. I didn't actually hate it. I enjoyed parts of it.
You're very hyperbolic, and I think that's funny. But it would also, I would have been fine if you hated it.
I ran things up. It does really get slow by the end.
It does.
There's like a heavy chunk toward the end before the last little kung fu fight. That is just like, it's like one of the things where like if it's like around midnight, you will probably fall asleep.
It is repeating a lot of the same information over.
Most of the movies are repeating the same information.
Right, but that's when it goes a little bit too far. Or there's like
the other times it's like there's like someone throws a really bad kick and you're like, okay, that made it worth it.
Exactly.
But then there was no kicks and it's just people talking. And it's like, why are we doing this again? But yeah, that ending section was rough. I don't think it's anywhere near like the level of a Miami Connection or Ebola Syndrome, and then we talked briefly about that, or like Love on a Leash, or a Food Fight. Like those are all like the Pantheon films.
Food Fight's a little bit too rough for me.
Food Fight was a blast.
I understand that movie is a little bit too much of an eyesore for me.
So like for me, there's like the iceberg of bad movies, and like I think like I said, I talked about it a little bit in the video. Like if you're just watching these for fun, if you're suffering, probably turn it off. But like we're into this, and we're fine with the suffering, and we're also watching them as filmmakers a little bit. So there's this level that I was almost thinking about where there's like, we have the Pantheon films, like the Neil Breens and everything, that like everyone agrees, like The Room is the pinnacle of that. Like everyone agrees. Yeah. And then like at the bottom you have like Little Panda Fighter and Incredible or Amazing Bulk. Like the just,
or like Super Baby.
Yeah, like the unwatchable practically stuff.
Yeah.
And like this sits somewhere in the middle. I would say it's closer to like the top tier. But it's like a tier or two down. Like it's not quite like laughs a minute. But it does have its moments. And it like the opening is insane. The kung fu is horrible. It's like there is definitely a lot of charm to this, but that cynical angle keeps. I feel like that might be what holds it back a little bit for me.
I feel that
because like the other ones, like a Neil Breen or something, like they legitimately think they're saving the world. They're like, no, we're saving the world by making this art.
Right.
And this feels like we're making money, and we're gonna talk about saving the world while doing it.
I genuinely think they felt like they were going to change the world, but I feel like they were trying to trick people into Christianity.
Yeah,
that's my cynical angle.
I feel like there was a little bit too much of like a trickster or a cynical angle to it, where it didn't feel like fully genuine. And I think that's what keeps it from being like top tier. Like it, like that. It feels like it's not a self-aware, but it is a little bit. Like they're a little bit here.
Yeah, I think they. What I would say is, I think what makes it funny to me is they think they're being very like subtle with it. They think like we're so much smarter than the audience, and they're like they don't know how obvious the being and how like even like they're like they think they're making a good movie on top of that as well. You know what I mean?
They have to. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely still delusion here, but. I still feel that cynical is a little bit too much, like to like keep it from that top tier. Yeah. But I do enjoy it. Like there's tons of little fun bits. I would definitely say it's worth the watch.
For sure.
But I am curious now because like the angle that I approach this from is that one of the reasons why I like bad movies is not just because they're fun. I feel like it's almost like a saltine cracker. You know, it's like a palate cleanser a bit. Yeah. And so I use them as palate cleansers, but I also look at what can we learn from this movie. Yeah. And I know that sounds sort of redundant or dumb because I don't know what you would say. I really don't know what I would say for this movie. But there's usually something that they did well and something that they did like so bad that like you've never seen done bad that way. I think The Day for Night, however they did that in this with the blue tint, is like a silent movie. Yeah. And it really does not work here. I think that's a new variety of bad. Well,
there are parts of the movie where the sun is literally reflecting off of the truck to where you can see the lens flare, and they still have the day for night filter on it. Where it's like, what are you even doing?
We were watching it, we couldn't figure out, like, this is supposed to be day for night, right? But, like, we were so uncertain because of how bad it was.
Yeah, every scene, almost every outdoor scene has a blue tint, no matter what time of day it is. Yeah. Except for the parts where it's obviously supposed to be day. It really was, like, insane how much they used that. So, but to me, that kind of comes into the whole, like, using the pitch as your IMDb slogan, it's like, kind of says it all, where it's just like,
and that's the other side.
We're going to see what we're going to do, I guess. I don't know. There is a charm where it does feel like we're getting a bunch of people together. We're going to make a kick-ass action movie. Yeah. And there's also that cynical angle of, well, we're also going to make this a Christian movie as well.
But it does, like I said, it doesn't feel wholeheartedly, like it doesn't feel genuinely like
that's kind of
sort of
what that is kind of what I like about it, because it's that unique kind of angle to it.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of like really like cynically made movies and stuff. That's kind of where like my angle, like I will enjoy watching like any of those like shitty like political movies on YouTube or whatever, where like
I agree with that, but I think that what makes something like, I don't want to say Birdemic, because I do sort of, like, I did enjoy watching it, but I don't know if I would now. But like those,
I've still never seen
Birdemic. And like the Neil Breen movies, like they're very political movies. Yeah. But they do it in a way where it's like 100% genuine. And that's what is charming about it. But this doesn't feel Like, and I just take it all the way back down even to like the government angle. Like, there's a good government and a bad government, and like beating people up is bad, but it's good if it's for the Lord. Like, it feels like cynical. Like, it doesn't really take a stand on anything.
I will say with the government angle, I feel like that is funny because it's like it's so clear they have no idea what the hell they're talking about.
No, they have zero.
But they want to say something, but they just don't know what they're saying.
Yeah,
and that's
fair.
To me what I find very funny about
true.
it. Like
Maybe
the fact that there's like a good and a bad CIA. It's
Maybe
like, what are you
maybe this
doing?
we're so far gone that we assume that they're being cynical, but it turns out that they're just so far lost. They've gone past like enthusiasm to just.
Something I have learned within my life: never ever underestimate the power of stupidity.
Yeah, and I think that's what we learn here a little bit. But I definitely do think that the infomercial is a new variety of bad as well. But the day for night is probably the worst. Like, never do day for night in a purple tint. Like,
oh yeah, for
it's
sure,
horrible.
For sure.
But what would you say this movie did well? Like interesting. Is there anything in this really? I don't know.
There's like no. I would say that there is stuff not to do in a movie.
Yeah.
Like maybe if you make an action scene, don't have everybody pause to make sure that the next hit actually lands.
Yeah.
Make sure your action scenes aren't filmed all at a wide angle and make them a little bit of intensity.
They try at times to do like the fake punch where like they shoot from over here, but it
Yeah.
always doesn't feel right, and no one sells the punch. And the baseball bat.
Ooh, yeah.
And props. Always make sure that if the prop has at least a similar characteristic, because that thing bent. And he was waving it like this, and it's like, there's no weight in that thing.
Yeah, well, maybe, you know, because it was taking place in like a children's backyard. Maybe that was a real plastic bat, but the guy was just so strong.
He made him cough up blood hitting him.
Exactly, yeah, because he had the power of Satan on his side. So he does have some powers, right?
And that was like, at the end, there's that, we need to talk about the one, like, there's one-liner in this whole movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, that, like, whenever she, like, but like in the worst way possible, where like she sort of rolls and then she like throws a leg random in there and a guy falls over, and then they're like, oh, like 8-ball corner pocket, and it's like barely said and you barely hear it, and it's if you're gonna do one-liners, they need to be more than one. Like, the purpose is not a one-liner. Like, it's supposed to be consistent.
I feel like there were more, but they were
didn't
not very
land, so we
memorable.
literally
They
just didn't
land.
know.
Yeah, exactly. But that, I'm glad you brought up the bar scene, because that is like the perfect example of the difference between what we envision
and like how you execute it.
And how you execute it. Because like I can tell like they wanted that to be like, because
seedy dive bar.
Oh, it's really like filthy and disgusting, but like they got access to a somewhat nice bar with very even lighting. It seemed like not family friendly, but like you could take it, you know, it's not like it's not gross or dingy or dirty.
Yeah, it's all
like
pretty well kept.
Pretty normal and pretty like, you know, anybody could come in essentially. And they're still doing like lines of coke on the pool table, and they're having like these fights. And even like the thuggy women they bring in, they just look like regular people. Yeah. Nothing about it works.
Screams.
Yeah.
But okay, this is the other game I like to play whenever I'm doing this mentally. How would you fix that scene?
How would I fix that scene? Well, obviously, if they have access to the location, I would say at the very least, if you're gonna shoot in that location, dim the lights a little bit. Maybe get better costumes.
Don't shoot it in the day.
Don't shoot it in the day. Get better costumes for the thugs. You want them to look a little bit more intimidating.
And there's no build up in that scene either. Like, it just cuts to a guy like on the table cutting coke, and then like someone just ninja.
Well, that is the best part. There are so many moments.
That's what makes it
movie.
Great in the movie. But if you wanted to make it good, you would start with like the guy cutting coke. You'd like pull out, and then there'd be like something rough happening in the background, like someone saying something evil or awful.
Maybe set up why Pastor Deborah is there as well.
That's the other thing. Pastor Deborah just can walk into whatever building she wants. Yeah. And it's like...
Also, she seems to, you know, we don't know if these guys are regulars. These guys are basically just doing coke, and Pastor Deborah is beating the shit out of them, essentially. So really, Pastor Deborah could be the bad guy in this situation. And then you have these two random women that are coming in. Even after they get beat up, we still don't know who they are. They're just two random women. Yeah. And then they also try to do a joke where the woman, like, punches and then misses and then hits the other girl. That's another thing we have to mention. There is so much like
fighting
awful,
yourself.
Horrible comedy in this movie.
Okay, I don't know if it's comedy.
Because later like the guy kind of runs away and then he like runs into the pole and there's a boo and then he falls back or whatever. Like there's a scene where like Cholo gets kicked in the balls and he has like the ooh face. There's so many scenes that are clearly trying to be like slapsticky that just fail so miserably.
I feel like those were the two that stood out, but I feel like everything past that, a lot of like the missing the punch or stuff was like supposed to be like cool, like they're making them fight themselves.
Yeah.
Like Leo Fong at one point does the whole thing where he's like making the other guy kick the other guy and punch him.
Yeah.
And it looks like someone just lifted their leg and he went like that to it, and then the guy fell over.
It's so good.
It's a different variety of bad. Like they try to even do the Hong Kong edit at one time where they double on the punch.
Yeah.
And they like don't double it from two different angles, so it just happens and pulls back and happens again, and it. That's another thing you shouldn't do if you're gonna do the Hong Kong.
Yeah.
edit.
Also, speaking of the punches, we have yet to have talked about the sound effects in this movie.
Yeah, they're all like the stock like.
They are amazing. Well, I think we mentioned like at one point they sounded like PS1 sound effects, right?
That I'm more used to in bad movies. And like the special variety here is the Kung Fu. I mean, it's a full-on black tank top movie.
Yeah.
Day for Night is another level of bad. The cynical angle of the Christianity and the message it's pushing is weird, and that's unique. It's the maybe delusional beyond sincerity or the delusional cynicism. It's somewhere in the middle.
Right.
Yeah, and like the trying for almost like I don't think most bad movies try for an ensemble. Like you said, it's ensemble. We sort of said that tongue in cheek, but it sort of is trying for it poorly, but it's trying for it, and it's like that is a different brand of bad as well. Like.
We didn't even talk about the this is a Dogma 95 film because the
Yeah,
entire thing was shot on like a Sony camera.
Yeah, it's shot on a Sony camera with all natural lighting or whatever. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about here. But you would recommend this obviously because you recommend it to me.
I would recommend it. I think this is a fun bad movie in my opinion.
Yeah, I would tentatively recommend it. I would say that it was pretty good. It wasn't absolutely amazing. But it was enjoyable. Like I feel like after a couple bad movies, like this is the one I would go to after a couple. Yeah. Not like immediately.
It's not like a starter bad movie, no, I would say. But if you're into bad movies already.
Or you're like, you've seen like Room and one or two others. Yeah. I would say like go ahead and try it.
Obviously watch Miami Connection before this.
Yeah.
But this I think is also a really good substitute because I think also you and I don't think we have different tastes in bad movies. But I think there's things that we kind of forgive and there's things we want to get out of more. Yeah. Like I am a very big fan of like really action. You know what I mean? As long as it's like fun and it's like it's kind of sparse throughout the movie, I'm having a good time. Yeah, there's some downbeats, but I mean like I expect that in every. Even Miami Connection has slow moments. You know what I mean? They're bad movies for a reason, right? Yep. They're not gonna get 100. They're not gonna be 100% entertaining the entire time. Yeah. Except maybe Neil Breen.
Yeah, that's part of it is joy of discovery. So
yeah, exactly.
You discovered something that like literally 20 people have seen.
Yeah, I would say this is a little bit of a gem that I think more people should know about.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think this stuff. I mean, we've seen on Letterboxd. You go on. It's a very passionate fan base. I think there's a lot in this movie. Like there's a lot of downtime. There's a lot of dumb shit. But the stuff that's good in it, I think is great, and I think is extremely entertaining.
Yep, I think there's definitely something there for everyone. So, both recommend. It was overall a good experience. A confusing experience, but a good experience overall. Yeah. And I would just want to say thank you.
Of course.